It's a copy after Squid Games.
Oh.
And so when you kind of even just see like the outfits, the money and things, this is literally a modern day version of Squid Game.
Warning. This episode may contain content that is not suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, so right off the bat, we're going to discuss something that's making quite a splash in our population right now.
Yep.
What do you see about the Beast game in this poster? What does this poster tell you?
Money, money, money.
Yes, money. We got money. We got cars. We got
competition for the money, it seems like.
Competition.
Mm-hmm.
What about destruction?
Yeah, definitely destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So money in his hand, and he's holding a button. He's going to blow it up. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting image.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know much about this show?
Yes.
Not a lot.
Yes. I have been watching it with my family the past few weeks.
So it's sold as the craziest show with the craziest jackpot.
Jackpot.
Yeah. $5 million. Nobody's ever given away that much money.
$5 million plus a private island.
On a game show? Really?
On a game show, yeah. This is the most money that's ever been offered on a game show.
Wow.
And it's interesting because, you know, they psychologically profiled all these people when they pulled them in here. I mean,
really?
Yeah. They had a questionnaire, one that would say, "Are you a hero or are you a villain?" And the questions were really interesting. Why they chose who they chose. But what do you notice about on their chest?
Numbers.
Yep, numbers.
Like prisoners
Identification
or football
numbers.
players. Or...
Yeah. Okay. I think there's a reason for that. But I'm going to play you a little clip right here. This is what this show is about for anybody that has not known what this show is about. They're competing for $5 million right here.
I am standing on $5 million, the grand prize of the most insane competition show you've ever seen. And competing for it are these 1,000 contestants.
So you got all these people that come out. They got only numbers on their chest, no names. Why do you think they did that?
Dehumanize them.
Yeah,
you're just a number.
Is.
And it's interesting, one of the first activities that they were going to ask them to do what was kind of really interesting with the numbers specifically. But as each one of these contestants, this is kind of the first time they come out. There's 1,000 of them in this room, and they're asked, what would you do with the money? Listen to this.
I grew up homeless, and now I want to help other homeless kids. And that $5 million would mean everything to help me get there.
If I win $5 million, I could use that to make passive income for the rest of my life.
It would provide me the opportunity to retire my dad.
The difference that money can make and how it can support a community.
Completely getting my whole family out of the poverty pipeline.
There's a lot of clowns that want to donate the money. I'm buying jet skis and gold chains.
I will die for this. I will die for $5 million.
This is gonna be crazy.
Right off the bat, in the very first thing that they had him do, you know, you're seeing people going, "Hey, I would help people. I would do this with the money."
And it's
I'd
a
do
good
that
thing.
That's a good thing, right? I think a lot of people have good intentions in the onset, but when you start to see how this thing actually plays out, and people don't really care about the people around them, you know.
That's a really interesting perspective, and I don't want to judge anybody or throw anybody under the bus, but it's true how you see, and these people might have, that you just saw that wanted to do something good, they might have had that intention all along. I mean, there's 1,000 people playing, so there could be other people that had a different reaction later on. But it's interesting that people are like, well, I'm going to do something good, and then later on, it's just like, I'm going to do good for those people, but I'm not doing good for you. Again, I'm not saying that these people specifically were like that. I'm just saying in general as a concept, you know.
I'll do good to these people at what cost? At your cost.
Yeah.
At the cost of you losing this game.
I will do good to you, but I will sacrifice you to do good to you.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I don't think people were naturally thinking, okay, I'm going to basically throw everybody under the bus so I can win.
Yeah.
Right. But when the games play out, it's interesting. Here's a thing that they did with the numbers, though. It's a copy after Squid Games. And so when you kind of even just see like the outfits, the money and things, this is literally a modern day version of Squid Game.
I've seen this before where he has the track suits and stuff in his YouTube videos with the numbers. So it's a complete
and
copy.
all the guys are masked.
Yeah, exactly. The guys that brought out the money that wore the thing on their face.
Yeah.
So Squid Games, do you know much about Squid Games?
I have heard about it. I have friends who have watched it. I myself couldn't get myself to watch it because of probably the same reason most people won't like to watch the Beast Games, because of all this like emotional roller coaster. People think it's like morally wrong, or it's just like it's too tense.
Well, give me the 1 minute pitch here. In Squid Games, they're basically competing, but they're killing other people, right?
Right. Squid Games is a bunch of people who have gone broke and they need money, and they're offered this opportunity to play child games in order to win a bunch of money, right? Like 45 billion Korean money. And what they don't know is that if you lose these games, you die. So it's life or death in these games.
And your portion goes to the pot.
And your and the portion of the person keeps going to whoever the winner is.
The grand prize.
Right. So you're basically playing child games to win all this money, while these other people who lose the games will die.
Here's one of the first challenges that they had. He'll kind of explain what happens. They're going to do some bribes to people.
What do you think I'm going to be having you guys do? Bribes!
It's gonna be a bribe.
A bribe.
That is correct. This game is the final hurdle between you and moving on in this competition. I will be offering bribes, and whichever person accepts it will eliminate themselves and their rows.
Their whole row.
Their whole row. So now how do you feel about this morally? I mean, it's a game, but in the beginning, it's like, look, if you take the bribe right away, then you just kicked out everybody in that row just so you could make a little bit of money, but then you just took everybody else's object out of the game.
Pretty selfish, I would say.
But at the same time, that's what's going to happen in the end. If you win, you have to take out everybody in order to win. So whether you do it early on or whether you do it later, the outcome is the same.
Yeah.
You know, we did an episode once. It was about it's one of our best views episodes ever. It's currently pinned to our homepage on YouTube. We'll put a link in the description. But in this episode, there was this story of this Dutch man who was persecuted for his faith by the church in power during the time this time of the Reformation, the Catholic Church, and this Dutch man was a Protestant, and he was running for his life in snow over ice in the Netherlands. And the guard who was trying to catch him and kill him fell through the ice. And this man ran back at the risk of his own life, saved the guard, then got arrested again and martyred, basically. But he gave his own life to save his enemy.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
I think in the space that we're in the end of the world here, right? We are supposed to be developing Christ-like characters. And I think something like this is just literally promoting the I got to get mine before you got to get yours mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm in here for me, not for anyone else, and I'm going to get this. I think our ancient battle that goes all the way back to the beginning is against self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is just something that is making people make decisions on selfishness.
Have you ever heard the quote, the biggest battle ever fought is the battle against self?
That's right.
As Christians, we are supposed to die to self.
That's right.
Die, and there's a verse that says that no one has greater love than this, but to lay down your life for your brethren.
Friend.
You know
for
what
your
I mean?
friend, yeah.
When you start filtering things through the lens of the Bible, you start going, this is kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at how people start treating this now. They start when they're told this is what's going to happen, you're going to make everybody else in your row go out. Listen to what people start to do.
Almost immediately, the room erupted in chaos, and people started to introduce one another by their name.
My name's Jonathan. Alejandro. That's my name.
And not their number.
Why do you think they would tell their name to people?
Oh, they wanted to probably befriend one another to see if they could trust each other and not get the bribe.
A name begins to add a relationship to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
This whole experience that we have on this planet is a relationship experience. And it's interesting now, these guys are starting to go, okay, I'm not just a number anymore. This is my name. I'm a real person.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Don't eliminate me.
Exactly.
Like I'm nothing.
Yeah, I have a story.
Yeah. And they're psychologically now trying to prime everybody else in their row. Don't sell us out. Hey, I know your name. You know my name, all this kind of stuff. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So Listen to what happens.
But sometimes, the people who you think you can trust the most are actually
Oh my God.
the people you can trust the least.
He took the money, and now everybody in his row's got to go home with nothing.
But he's like, I got the money, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
Got
happy.
100 grand.
And not only that, if you've watched the episode, he was the guy that it was done in the edit. They were making the viewers think that he was super trustworthy. They were putting an emphasis on him saying, no amount of money is going to take me out. Right. So you trusted it. So as the audience, you are also very disappointed.
So now you're making people distrust each other in this game. So not only are you making them selfish, you're now playing with their relationships and breaking their relationships. Dude,
You can't trust anyone.
Satan's MO is divide and conquer. That's his MO. But this isn't everyone. Not everybody has this experience. And as you see this play out, there are some people that were like, you know what? I'm not going to take the bribe or whatever. And that becomes apparent. But I found it really interesting that they separated them into a couple different groups and they had them pick team captains. And then they would offer them money and that money would continue to increase until you press the button. But if you press the button, everyone on your team has to go home. So
And only you get the money.
Only you get the money. So here's what happens.
Can you find someone on your team that money can't buy?
Bro, you are crazy.
Because you really need to.
You need to chill.
They will be tempted with an insane amount of money. Whatever you're thinking, it is going to be higher than that. They're going to tell you they won't crack, but we will find that breaking point.
So let's distill down what he's actually doing. He's making the group pick someone based on trust, and then he's going to bribe them to the point where he's going to try to make them sacrifice their entire team. I think that's kind of evil.
Yeah.
And I think the world is recognizing like, yeah, this is kind of messed up. You know, it's like, it's a sad reflection of our state of affairs that we're in the human race.
Yeah, I find it interesting. That guy next to him, his name is Mac. It's an interesting reaction that he has to Mr. Beast, being like, dude, you're crazy.
Yeah. So here it is. They pick the guys, and actually, ironically, they did not take the bribe. Check this out.
There are literally 4 people currently saying no to $500,000.
500 grand! What is going on?
It's over $500,000. Are you guys chronically insane?
So they're tempting them. It's getting higher. They're obviously adding emotion into the scene. And they get all the way up to almost $1 million. Would that be pressure for you if you were in that seat? I
think it would be pressure for anybody. You always would like to think, I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But until you're in this situation, I think it's hard to make that judgment call on somebody else.
And they all have their different backstories as well. Like one of the guys was like homeless. The other one was a retired fireman.
Yeah.
It's like the pressure is different for everyone.
Guy with the beard's a Christian.
Yeah.
And you think about it, you might not win the 5 million, so you get 1 million or you get nothing. That's going through your head.
Oh yeah.
But I think you just gotta pray through it. If you are part of this, for some reason you are a participant, I would pray like, Lord, I want to honor you. Help give me the strength because I can't do this without you. That's a huge temptation.
Right. But we have games that we're trying to tempt people. That's interesting to me.
None of you want 800 grand? Jeremy's turning around, looking at the screen a little bit now. The viewers are gonna think this is fake. This is real.
900! Oh my God!
Oh my God. Oh my. Surely somebody has to take it. It's almost $1 million.
Yeah. So the entire team is betting on that the person they chose is not going to take it. Now, I actually was pleased that they didn't take it.
Praise God.
Yeah, they
You know
did.
what I mean?
Wow.
It's like, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of someone being shady. And it's like you're kind of watching this thing play out and they're kind of being shady with each other. But here's a little clip from like a lot of the different games and stuff like that. Listen to what begins to happen. Because remember, in the beginning of this conversation, people were like, oh, I would help all these people and do all this kind of stuff. Now look at what they're doing to each other to try to get this thing
again,
done.
we do have to say, we don't know if those people who said in the beginning are the same people here. I do want to be respectful of that.
You can feel the tension.
Y'all were both selfish.
Why would you go against the team?
My heart is broken into pieces right now.
I don't trust anyone. I'm here for myself and my family.
Everything is on the line.
The mind games have begun.
Which one of these players will make entertainment history and win $5 million?
Do whatever it takes. There's only going to be one winner.
And it all comes down to this.
So you can see them saying, why are you being selfish? Why are you doing this? The relationship's being broken, shattered. It's like you can't trust anybody. I'm in this for me.
And whoever you think you can trust, the games will make sure you don't trust them anymore.
Yeah.
We'll have instances where, they'll have like, make teams of 3, and then they all go and gather with their best friends. And then in the background, Mr. Beast goes like, little do they know, they're going against each other and nobody's going to be friends anymore.
Right. I saw there was a Mr. Beast where they took a bunch of twins and they had some competitions with the twins and they were like pitting them against each other and stuff. And you think about that. Family is a very close bond, and it's like a lot of his shows, he has this kind of a thing. I'm going to see how crazy people can be in certain circumstances. And
yeah, you wonder, taking a stab at being armchair psychologist for a moment, he's in a very unique position as an individual. There's basically almost nobody on YouTube who can compete with him.
Yeah.
And in that respect, he's very much alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if he's alone in this almost even bigger competition, what joy does he get out of life? Have you seen those clips? Talking about him and his experience and like being a YouTube creator over years and years. And he's just like, he's obsessed with his YouTube craft.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that nobody can touch him.
mm-hmm.
He's like at the top and there's nobody to compete with him.
Mm-hmm. You just have to go bigger and bigger and bigger.
And here this isn't the first time he's done games. If you look at his channel, you can see the titles and things that he's done. He's done other games, smaller games, and now he's just escalating the situation. But it's like, if you look at this, what is he doing with other people? Is he putting them in the same situation that he essentially is in? Putting them through the same emotions and
point.
Psychological things that he has to go through himself. And he's getting, I don't know, is he getting joy out of watching somebody else go through the same thing that he's going through?
Yeah, I really think this is sad that our society is getting entertainment off of somebody else's tragedy. And it's almost like we're like,
it's not a new idea.
It's not a new idea. Lots of game shows have done this, but I think this kind of put that front and center with me going, okay, as a Christian, what are we supposed to be doing in the world right now? We're supposed to be reflecting the character of Christ, which is very loving and very, self-sacrificing kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And here it's kind of almost just the opposite, trying to foster people to be selfish or greedy.
In Rome, that's the way it was. They used to get enjoyment out of other people's destruction at the cost of their own lives.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. All right. So here's what The Guardian has to say about this. I think it's very interesting because this actually hasn't gotten a lot of very good reviews. Did you know that?
I heard about it.
There's a lot of people that are like, dude, this is wrong. This is messed up. This is just like bad. Here's what the Guardian says. Danique, go read this.
It exists solely to show us the worst of the human condition as obnoxiously as possible.
That's a scathing rebuke.
And the worst of the human condition is utter selfishness, right?
Greed, selfishness.
Interestingly enough, though, he put 2 out of 5 stars on the top little graphic. I'm like, so there's something worse?
Right. I thought that was pretty interesting. James 3:16 is a verse that we've talked about on this show quite a bit. And it's like, where there's envy and self-seeking, confusion and every evil thing is there. And I think that what's really crazy is right now we're seeing this game come out into the open. We talked about it being a ripoff of Squid Game. Squid Game's coming out again. And these are things that are not fostering good relationships. It's tearing them apart. The Bible also says in Philippians 2:3 and 4, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you not look to only his own interests, but also to the interests of others. I'll tell you this, though. There were moments in this game that I was pleased to see people, if they self-ejected out of their whole team could go on. And there was people that voluntarily said, I'd like my team to have the opportunity and I'll be the one to leave. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, thank you. Okay, we're not all lost. Mm-hmm. Wow. There's actually some good people out there that are literally like, thinking of other people and not just their own skin. So I want to be fair to the show. There were some people that had that kind of attitude. But Squid Games is sort of just even taking what Mr. Beast is doing one step further, obviously not just kicking people out, but taking their life.
Yeah, dude.
And you think about like Jesus came to this planet to give us life and to give it abundantly.
What wouldn't you do to save your life, your own life?
Yeah.
If you're not in connection with God, right? It's like you said earlier, Danique, like no greater love is there than to lay your own life for your friend. But if you don't have that love, what wouldn't you do? What dirty trick wouldn't you do? Every dirty trick counts in war.
The opposite of love is to step on somebody or take their life or sacrifice them so that you can achieve a higher status. Hollywood, there's enough videos out there of people talking about Hollywood stars sacrificing people or family members or whatever to move up that ladder. And if you think about it, it's the most opposite end of the spectrum of what true love is. Somebody that's laying down their life, I would give my life so that my friend could live on or something like this. That's like the ultimate demonstration of love, right?
That's what Christ did for us.
Yes, but sacrificing someone else so that you can live, that's literally the bottom opposite side of that spectrum.
Yeah, and also, if you think about in the grand scheme of things, where are we headed as a planet, as a world, as a humanity? We are so close to the second coming of Christ. But that gets preceded by absolute terror, end of the world, apocalypse stuff, basically, because the mark of the beast is going to come. The ultimate test to your allegiance to God or to yourself, which is ultimately to Satan. And so when you watch this kind of stuff, you're constantly having seeds planted in you. You need survival of the fittest. You need to go for yourself, right? Like even to like saving your own life. When Revelation 13 talks about those who will follow Jesus will be killed for their faith. But if you're constantly having seeds planted in your brain, you need to choose self. How do you think you're going to actually stand up for Jesus?
If this is something that is highly watched in our world, because Squid Games is a very like highly watched show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not a small amount of people that are paying attention to this.
No.
And now you've got Mr. Beast. And I think another thing that Keith showed me was Call of Duty. And now we're talking about the video game world that's adding this same layer in there. So check this out. Game show, priming the pump with people being selfish and people being whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Squid Games, taking it one step further, instead of just getting kicked off the show, you're going to die. Now you've got a video game that's based on this same premise. Now you're actually making the decision of who dies. Mm-hmm. Look at this trailer. Dude. This is messed up.
Introducing the new Call of Duty Event Pass, featuring Squid Game. Play the Squid Game Event Pass to earn new rewards. Compete in all modes and earn player XP to level up through the Event Pass. Upgrade your Event Pass for more rewards, including the ultimate prize.
Wow!
I have one thought. The Bible says, by beholding, we become changed. This is not just a biblical concept, it's a scientific concept. We have in our brain something called mirror neurons. Monkey see, monkey do. If you do something right now and I see you shooting somebody, my brain cannot register the difference between you doing it or myself doing it. So first you have the show where you're watching people do it, and now you take it a step further where you're actually playing like you're doing it. It's even worse.
Every single image that they showed in this show or this video game, what are they actually doing?
Killing.
Is anybody building something?
No.
Anybody helping someone?
No.
The entire premise.
Destruction.
Yes. Cut down, kill, shoot. And if you're sitting there playing with that and you're taking pleasure now in the death of people, I want you to follow this logic.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking pleasure in people like, losing out on getting a prize. Then Squid Games is bringing it to the level of now you're taking pleasure when, oh yeah, I didn't really like that guy anyway, and now he's dead. to now you're just literally take everyone out and I need to be the last man standing. This literally to me is how I believe that they arrived at this perspective in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
I think they dehumanized the Christians so much that there was people that were actually coming to these things like a sporting event, eating popcorn and drinks and probably not popcorn, but you know what I mean? Like they're making it a festival, a fun environment to watch.
It's called Bread and Circus.
Bread and Circus.
That's how they called it.
I remember you made a comment about this where you were like, oh, imagine that they're sitting in a Coliseum and it's like, you know, the popcorn comes in and like, oh, I want some popcorn. Oh, shoot, what did I miss? Oh, somebody just died. But this is happening in our living room.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. You go to your kitchen, you're like, what did I miss? Oh, so-and-so got killed. Oh, okay. It's the exact same thing. And we think we're any better than the people in the Colosseums. We're the same thing.
Right. You brought up the Last Supper and, you know, the disciples and stuff that are arguing about who's number one at that time. They're like literally in the presence of Jesus. They are, you know, just about to witness the culmination of the plan of salvation coming down and dying on a cross for them. And they're just trying to figure out who's best, who's number one, who can sit at the right hand, who's the top dog. And, you know, this is where I believe the end of the world will get back to this position. But I think they're priming the pump for people to not care about each other, to only save your own skin. And
you can see it in the imagery too, because the guards, you know, they're faceless.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
it's like you have no identity. It's you know, and part of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, I think, is the element of zombies, which is that same kind of thing. You know, this dehumanization. You know, just one track mind, not good for anything. They only do things a certain way, think a certain way, group think mentality. All of that is part of the package. You know, it reminds me of something that the Bible says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, speaking about the last days. It says, and for this reason, God will send them strong delusion that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. You know, what do we take pleasure in? Do we take pleasure in unrighteousness, or do we love the truth? That's the question that we all have to ask ourselves in the times that we're living. And, you know, it's easy to take this text and say, well, God's the one making them believe a lie or something. No, if you really understand the whole entirety of the Bible, this isn't God making anybody believe anything, but allowing those circumstances to happen, which you're choosing to believe the lie. You're choosing the delusion. So
it's a decision you have to make.
You have to make. God is not removing your freedom of choice on what you believe. But yeah, you're going to pick a direction, either truth or pleasure in unrighteousness.
Amen. Well, I hope you guys got a blessing out of this conversation. And we're curious of your thoughts, so definitely leave us a comment. And as always, remember, you know, to reflect Christ's character. That is literally where we need to spend our time, learning about how Jesus was, you know, literally giving his coat off of his back to help somebody else. And those are the things that we need to be doing, is spending our time building up relationships, not tearing them apart. And, you know, especially these kind of things that you're having entertainment and getting pleasure off of other people, like losing out or even getting killed. Those things are things that we want to steer clear of. So we hope you guys like this, and give us a thumbs up, and check out some of our other videos if you haven't checked them out already. And we'll see you guys on the next LED Live.